There. That's it. That's him.
What's going on, y'all? You know who it is. Mr. Warmack, a.k.a. Low Rent, a.k.a. The Ignorant American, a.k.a. The Truth As You Know It, a.k.a. Dirty Business, a.k.a. The Jet Jaguar of YouTube. Georgia. Remember when they invaded Georgia? I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was like 2008. Slowly and surely, he wants to build a Eurasian Union. He can't do it with like the old Eastern Bloc countries, like say with Poland and East Germany and maybe Slovakia, the Czech. He can't do that with them because they have a taste of Western culture, and they're like, fuck that. But they wanted to keep Ukraine because they felt Ukraine was essential to bringing back the Soviet Union again. So, like I said, the exiled Ukrainian president signed the deal. The people weren't having it. Like, it was a clear majority. It wasn't like it was 5 or 2 nutballs like we have in the States, walking around downtown in your state capital with guns or whatever, saying, hey, I'm a nut, I ain't going for this, impeach everybody, get them out of there, let God sort them out. There was a clear majority in Ukraine. And so that was, the people wanted it, and the president didn't want to join NATO. Because he was getting pressure from Putin. Basically, people were saying he was Putin's puppet. So what happened was, you saw the events unfold on TV. The people were they got to riot stage. They were protesting until he sucked the national police and the Kiev police and all that, and they started doing their thing. What happened was, I think the national police and the military were like, well, we don't agree with this. So what happened was they stopped enforcing a lot of stuff on the protesters. And what happened was at the end of all this, the exiled president is still in Russia. He's exiled, and there's a new president. So meanwhile, Russia, in their wisdom, they have that, like I told you, they have a base in Crimea. That's only Crimea. It's like a naval base. So their excuse was, we're protecting the interests of the ethnic Russians and our interests, but they deployed like 30,000. At first it wasn't a big scale. It was like, I think 3,000 to 10,000 troops that were deployed. I'm not sure you have to look this up, but in the end, or even right now, I think it's like 30,000. So they basically they flooded the whole peninsula there. And Crimea is like a rich resorty town, resorty area. It's like, it used to be like a resort area, I guess. So what happened was, now you got all this going on, and you got Crimea, who wants to leave Ukraine. Basically, what Ukraine did to Russia, Crimea wants to do to Ukraine. And now they're saying, holy hell, you can't do this, you can't do that. Basically, it looks like a little bit of civil war to me. So now, Russia's in Crimea, Ukraine's this, we got Kerry over there, Biden, Putin's riding naked on horseback, and you know how the story goes. So now we come to the point is, Obama's like, well, we're going to do sanctions, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Sanctions will work, but here's what you got to understand. Russia is one of them countries, look this up, it's a BRIC country, BRIC. And I think it was Brazil, Russia, and there's 2 other countries, India and China. Yeah, that's what it is. They're called BRIC countries because they're developing countries and they're developing economies. So Russia played right, they can withstand some sanctions. I mean, and that's another thing I want to talk about. The president is freezing money. So I thought to myself, hold up, man, my money's going to get froze. Because if I'm doing business with them, I'm getting froze. So my checks are getting stocked up. But I have to wait and see on that. And if it is, then I understand I'm an American. I got to take my lumps like every other American, don't I? But that's not the point here or there. So Obama wants to hit everybody in the wallet, and that's the best way. Me personally, I think you have to hit Putin. You won't hit Putin in the wallet. Putin's going to do what he's going to do. Honestly, I think Putin has lost a little bit of touch of reality. I admire his leadership, don't get me wrong, because let me tell you folks something. since he's done this, he wasn't really doing great in the polls, but now that he's done this, he's had a little resurgence. And now the people are starting to love this dude again, because he's bringing back the Soviet pride. Now, when they were in the Olympics in Sochi, they hit a lot of monuments of dealing with Stalin with that, because, like, you know what Stalin did to folks. If you don't know, read a book. I have time to tell you, but I'm not going to today. So what happened was Putin covered all that stuff in Sochi. So now back to the story. So now Obama is like saying, well, we're going to hit some of your key people. Here's the thing about Russia. There's a group called the oligarchs. And if you know what an oligarchy is, again, if you don't, look it up. If I'm using too big of a words, go to my video where I talk about, Ike for president. It's a little campy tune or whatever. Go listen to that. There's called the oligarchs. And the oligarchs basically are the people who have Putin's back. They're the ones who Putin really, I want to say cowards to. They have a lot of influence over Putin. Because Putin has to have Putin's back for him to do a lot of stuff they're doing. Now, when you start hitting the oligarchs, these are the guys that own all the heavy industries in Russia, like your oil, your gas. I don't know if Gazprom is. Hey, my Russian friends, is Gazprom still public or private? I'm not sure, but there's a lot of. If you go to Russia, they got a lot of new money. They got a lot of millionaires and a couple billionaires. They got a lot of new money. Once they started privatizing everything, it ran with the ball. But me personally, outside of military action, which I don't foresee us doing, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. There might be some proxy stuff going on, you know what I mean? We might supply Ukraine here and there, and there might be some proxy wars going on. But outside of military actions, a greater way of punishing Russia is going to be through economics. Because the oligarchs, at the end of the day, they're like, if my money stops, he got to go. They won't support Putin as well. Putin's riding high right now with the common man because he plays himself off as the common man. But don't forget, Putin was a spy over in East Germany, and the East German Chancellor, Merkel, she really don't trust the dude because she was born in East Germany, and she knows how it was under communist rule. So, and then let me tell you something. Whenever he invaded Crimea, check this out. The ruble went down like 34 to 40 compared to something like that, compared to the dollar. And the business people of Russia, they don't want the resources cut off. They don't want the ruble to go down. And money doesn't make for war. Money does not love war. Look at the conflicts and wars we've been in, and look at the money. Russian businessmen have a big say in that country. And if we do business, if they want to keep doing business with the West, you won't be able to do it under sanctions. And that's one way how you can get to them. And this might be the first of the solution. Like I said, Putin wants to unite the USSR. Excuse me for a minute. But honestly, is he going to do it? I don't think he's going to do it. Okay, so we got that now, Pat. We talked about that. And this was about a good 15 minutes. See, it's deep for me because I am actually interested in going and listening to all this. So now Russia invaded Crimea. They basically invaded the sovereign country of Ukraine. The Russian financials, the economy fell a little bit. Russia had to cut interest rates by 1.5 percentage points just to shore up the ruble. And let me tell you something, folks. That's great for if you want to invest in Russia. That's great if they cut the interest rates. It's great anytime they cut the investment rates, like the Feds. It's good. So it's great for investors, but it's not great for the Russian economy as a whole. Now, remind you, the oligarchs control the country. So if they can control the country, they're losing money with that interest rate going up by 1.5%. Putin needs to worry about the oligarchs. They control much of the industries, But look at it this way: if the market keeps falling, Putin's going to have to do something. Right now, he's cool. Now, we got all that now, Pat. So what's this mean for us in Ukraine? Personally, in America, I mean, we all know what Putin's doing is bullshit. We all know he's being funny. We all know he's doing his little nut shit. We all know that. But what can America do? You think we're going to military? I mean, they're talking about, if you haven't noticed, I don't know if I posted any of my videos, they're talking about cutting the military. I think they're trying to cut the numbers down to like under 400,000 troops. So we just came from a conflicts in the Middle East and Afghanistan, and if we possibly go to Russia, what now? This is the reason why I feel defense should never be touched. If there's one thing, I'm talking even Social Security, if there's one thing that should never be touched in the budget, I mean, this should be rubber stamp. Defense should have its own separate budget. It should be the budget of the United States and the budget of the United States defense, and that should always be rubber stamp. We should always have protect our country, because you never know. Now, they want to see a democracy over in Ukraine. Is cool, but how can you want to see a democracy in Ukraine when the people of Crimea are doing the same thing that the people of Ukraine did to the president? Now, Russia doesn't recognize this whole deal in Ukraine. He already said this, and that he's hitting, he's going to invade. It wouldn't surprise me if he did, because he keeps hitting.
There. That's it. That's him.